limit on this car is way higher than what I can hack. That's all I'm gonna say. Right folks, so welcome back to another video. We're doing some more mods to the cheap GTI today. We're gonna be fitting a Wavetrac LSD. As you know, if you've been following the build so far, this is a standard GTI, it's not a performance pack, so definitely does need a diff. We're back down at Regal Autosport in Southampton, so a bit of deja vu. Now these guys are actually the European distributor for Wavetrac differentials. My M140i LSD came from here as well. But yeah, we're gonna get the car inside now. I'll explain a bit more once it's in there and on the ramp and all that good stuff. But yeah, let's get started. Right, so GTI's inside, already up on the ramp. Now, we are going to start stripping the car now and get the gearbox out and essentially show you the internals and how it looks like as an open diff car. So gearbox oil is coming out now. It might be purple, man. All sorts of colours be going on in this thing.
Not too bad.
And there we have it. And that is a GTI with no gearbox attached to it. Right, so we've got the open diff at the car. We're back again with Ash, bit of deja vu.
Hi guys.
We're hoping you'll be able to give us a bit of a technical explanation today.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, the M140i, we've tried that, but it's a completely different layout, being obviously front engine, rear wheel drive. Obviously with the Golf, front engine, front wheel drive, we've got different disadvantages of like an open diff and different advantages as well. Relatively the same, well, it's the same diff and its function and things like that, but obviously there's different benefits and stuff. So obviously your car, it's not the performance pack, so it hasn't got the ELSD in it. So you basically just got an open differential, which obviously this is your differential here. It's nice and hot still as well.
Yeah. Nice drive on the M40 down, that's what that is.
Absolutely hums of gearbox oil. So if anyone's not familiar with like an open differential, I'm sure like most people have driven like a front wheel drive car and you've tried to apply the power coming out of a corner and you've literally just got pushed further away.
Yeah, you end up washing out like essentially.
And that's basically understeer and that's generated through the inside wheel of wherever you're cornering is basically spinning and it pushes the front end further out, which is why when you come off the throttle, you then start to go back around the corner again. You almost get a bit of a feeling of the car just scrabbling around for traction and not really knowing what it's doing, essentially. It's like the most frustrating feeling ever. Yeah. And what a differential basically does is distribute the power more evenly across the axle. Yeah. So instead of all the power being wasted on that 3D spinning wheel, it sort of sends it to the outside wheel and you get sort of like the feeling of pulling you through the corner. This is the Wavetrac differential, all fully built up, ready to go in. Yeah. And then here you've got basically an exploded view. So this is this diff, just all opened up so you can see all the internals. So it's a automatic torque biasing differential. And what that basically means is that it uses pinions and gears to transfer the torque. You have like plate differentials and things like that. They look completely different on the insides than these. So obviously this is a torque biasing differential. And then you've got different levels of torque biasing differentials. Most of them on the market are designed in the same way. And then the Wavetrac's a little bit different because it's got like two patented parts of it. So we can show you through that right now. So one of the problems with ATB designs is that once they lose axle load, which is through like wheel slip, from suspension unloading, which is like when you're cornering or lifting a wheel, they basically perform like an open differential. Whereas, and basically Wavetrac realized that and they developed this patented part in the center. And basically in any situation it's going to behave like an LSD would rather than in some situations like the other ones. Exactly, yeah. So it performs like an ATB more of the time. So the axles go into these gears here and what happens is when there's a difference in speed between these two, this starts to ramp up slightly and pushes out. It doesn't push out as much as I'm showing you right now. It's a really small, tiny little amount, but it's enough to enable it to continue to function versus like another ATB. So you get all the benefits of an automatic torque biasing differential and it sort of bridges the gap between a plate diff and an ATB. So if you're using it on like the road, like you're driving it to the shops, taking it out on the track day and stuff like that, it's going to be perfect really, and there's no servicing requirements on them other than obviously keeping the gearbox alive. It's essentially a fit and forget kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. There's, like I say, there's no like wear parts in there. They've also solved like a couple of other sort of like gripes of other ATB designs where like there's metal on metal contact, and what that can do is either slowly polishes over time, which reduces the friction inside the diff, or in extreme situations, if you're like doing burnouts, like spinning wheels quite a bit, you can break like the oil film, and then you get like material transfer. So what Wavetrac have done is
use carbon fiber.
Actually use carbon fiber. So these carbon fiber friction plates go in the housings, and they're what the pinions will rotate on. And if you don't have this, which is like what some other designs have, the pinions will rotate freely on the housing, and like you get that material transfer, or you get it polished. So some people might comment that they have an ATB, and day one it might feel like it works really well, like nice and tight, and then like after a year or like a few thousand miles, something like that, it starts to feel a bit looser. It's basically the friction starting to drop off.
In terms of what's next, then this needs to be machined out, doesn't it?
Yeah, so usually how differentials are assembled is you have a bolt that goes through here to attach the diff to the ring gear. What VW have done on pretty much all of the gearboxes, apart from like the DQ500 and some of the other Audi ones, is they riveted it. So we basically need to machine these away. So once that's been machined, we can get this assembled with your new ARP bolts, and then with the Wavetrac, and then obviously new bearings, new seals, set up the diff as well, and then just reinstall it, fill it with oil, take it for a road test, and then hand you over the keys to enjoy.
Sweet. Right, so we sent over all the bits to the machine shop. It's actually the next day, so I stayed over. Pretty good morning actually, because I got picked up in this thing. I got some clips I think I took on my phone, but that's insane. But yeah, VF supercharged Hurricane, so nice way to wake up. But yeah, if you are new here, make sure you do subscribe, and also you check out Regal Autosport as well, and make sure you follow all the social media links. I'll put it in the description. Right, so we're back in the workshop. We're here with Ben. This is going to give us a run through of what's going on here. So that's the open diff, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So this is the open diff that's come out your gearbox. Obviously this gear was on here with some rivets that needed machining off, so we've got the machine guys to machine them off for us. So this can then come off and get transferred onto the Wavetrac.
And that's a lovely Wavetrac all fitted up with ARP bolts.
That's it.
And now the plan is it's all going to be fitted back into the gearbox and then back in the car, and then essentially all good to go.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool, so what I'll do, I'll insert a little time lapse now so you guys can see a gearbox being refitted. Then once it's done, we'll get cracking with some driving impressions and all that good stuff. So I'll just quickly interrupt the time lapse just to show you the inside of a gearbox, just in case you wanted to see how it looked with a Wavetrac. The multicolored gearbox is going back in now. Fresh gearbox oil going in. The correct color one.
The correct color.
And there we have it. I'm just looking at the rear of the car here. As you can see, it looks exactly like the old Edition 30. Shows Mark 7s are starting to look like Mark 5s now. Apart from the lovely Bilstein B16s, of course. So the car's back to life. Just testing it on the ramp. It's had a bit overrun. I've never heard the overrun from the outside. The overrun's a lot louder than I thought it was. I only hear it from inside the car. These are quite refined. Happy with that, Ben?
Yeah.
All working good?
All gears, everything, reverse is good, so.
Sweet. So next stage is probably the road test then.
Yeah, I'll just lower your rear suspension whilst it's on the ramp.
Yeah.
Make a little tweak to that, and then road test it.
Cool, perfect. So as you saw if you watched the Bilstein video, I only lowered it to a set amount because I was going to fit those wheels on. I didn't know how they would sit in the wheel arch, but luckily we've got loads of clearance in the rear still, so Ben's going to lower it slightly. Right, so road test time. Just love the way this thing looks with the new wheels, man. It's definitely a bit of deja vu from the Bilstein video as well. I bet you'll tripod. Let's see the tripods. Yeah, there. Yeah, that's sitting perfect. Right folks, here we are in the GTI. It's been a few days since we did the install section of the video. Weather's brightened up. We'll put it to second, see how it fares on a little straight stretch here. because the Wavetrac does help with straight on acceleration as well. Tractions into sport. So as you can see, it's staying pretty straight. Yeah, I learned another cool thing about the Wavetrac when I was down at Regal. Obviously got bangs going off, and that is because these things have different length drive shafts. Obviously the gearbox side is shorter. Typically on the stock diff, it leans more towards the left side. You'll notice if you're on a GTI, if you floor it, it's going to tend to follow that way. Whereas now, with the Wavetrac, jeez, that caught me off guard then. It distributes power more evenly. That's the main thing about it. So it stays more sort of straight and true as a result of that. I'm not going to lie, just there it felt a bit like FK2 Type R. Let's see if it spins. It will spin. Oh, that's mad. It's so cleanly pulling away. Boot it there. It feels a bit quicker as well, because it's not wasting any of the power. Because obviously I noticed this on the M140i as well, because that was actually stage 1 when we fitted the Wavetrac, ironically, same as this. And it just feels like that you're just extracting more of the car. I mean, I have got a fair bit of experience with the diffs that come on like a performance pack and a Cooper 290 and stuff like that. They're great for what they are, but they always feel a bit kind of like, it's not mechanical. Like this, for example, we've got XDS now switched off, because that's what it has to mitigate traction issues as like a factory car, a non-performance variant. And then the performance pack has that plus its kind of weird front Haldex unit, which is essentially what it is. And now we've just got pure mechanical Wavetrac goodness. Just love the fact this is manual, man. It feels like I'm actually doing driving. Right, bit of a roll in here. Let's see if we can get it chucked around in a second. No one coming? Yeah. What the I've never been around that bend like that before. I was just thinking, yeah, it's going to push a bit. It just went round. Big shout out to Regal Autosport, man. They do actually a very good alignment on the car as well. That is one thing that I don't think I sort of highlighted enough in the Billstein video. It's probably one of the best alignments I've had in the car. The way the car is just so perfectly, it just attacks every road. The limit on this car is way higher than what I can hack. That's all I'm gonna say. No way. I don't even know how to laugh anymore. You know, when you've driving down the road, you've driven down like hundreds of times, and this is my review road. I know how cars behave on this road, specifically a hatchback. I'm a hatchback fanboy, and none of them pull like this in the corners. Doesn't matter which one I've driven. And then it's got enough shove to get out the corners as well. It's like almost like the car's just thinking where the grip is, but there's no like electronic aids being interrupted. This is mechanical grip. There's a real difference when you don't use the computer for everything. It's just a bit more raw now. The main real benefit is that you know exactly how your car is going to behave. You know it's likely going to bite into the corner, it's going to go more towards the apex. With the open diff, you have this kind of weird uncertainty of how it's going to manage the power. My favourite bit is just going around roundabouts. Obviously this one's in the middle of the day. All of that GTI is pretty identical to mine. It's got the roof, 3-door black, before I obviously did my wheels. Just tugs you down anywhere, man. Oh look at Type R FK2, the irony. That's the car that I was trying to give a little comparison to earlier, because I drove one like 4 years ago. They have a pretty good diff, but they tend to follow the camber too much. I haven't really had any camber following issues with this. It seems to just stay on its line. But yeah folks, on that note, let's end the video here. That was my first impressions on the Wavetrac. Big shout out to Regal Autosport and Wavetrac Europe. Make sure you do go pay them a visit if you want your GTI to be transformed. In short, this thing is pretty much the perfect back road hot hatch now, and we haven't even finished all the mods. Make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe for a lot more content to come, and I'll see you in the next one.